Hello, I'm Susan the North with the Rune reading. Today is August 9th, the day after the Lionsgate portal of 2023. The first rune I drew is Thurisaz or THORN. This rune today indicates to me that there is a need to be alert, wary, or self-protective in some manner. The rune following it, HAGAL, in its snowflake form, is a rune of sudden change. It's also a rune of storms and the new beginnings that come because the storm's severity can just move the old out and the new in. And it's often unexpected. And this one might be unexpected in such a way as to bring an emotional shock. This is TYR, the rune that is the spiritual warrior, and it's reversed. And I know from personal experience how when I get hit with some shocking news, it takes me off my warrior stand and just can knock me for an emotional loop. And those are the times when ALGIZ reversed indicates the need to go within and get grounded, gather your energy around you, and take the time to concentrate and figure out what you need to do. Now, because this was a reading that didn't refer specifically to anything in particular that was going to happen, it's just warning us that something unexpected may occur and we need to prepare ourselves. And this may not be for everybody watching this, but I turned to another oracle deck that I just love, and it's Shaman Durek's Earth Alchemy deck. And this was the rune the oracle card that came up today. This is Fire, Tribal Fire Moon, and I'm just going to read what he has to say from his book on it because I think it is so applicable to the divisiveness going on in the world around us today. Tribal Fire Moon indicates sacred communication, weaves connection within the tribe. Communication becomes sacred when we speak from the heart instead of speaking from the mind. Words spoken from the heart activate the great flame that connects us all. Words spoken from the heart spark remembrance of our unity. Words spoken from the heart heal and activate, inspire and harmonize. Give voice to your emotions with language sourced from your heart. It's not about sounding smart or educated or grammatically stylish. It's about being true. Give voice to your truth and your vulnerability in service, so that great flame of unity, such that it may burn brighter, warming not just you, but your friends, your family, your community, and your soul tribe. So I just want to hold this up again to be looked at and regarded. You know, it poses some questions. Who is our tribe? What is our truth? Our truth is our authenticity. I have been doing a lot of thinking on the fact that most of us operate from the conditioned mind, and this teaching is found in the ancient yogas, it's found in Buddhism, it's found in Christianity, and I am a proponent now of the runes and the things that came to me through the runes. Since I was very young, I felt out of place in my Christian home. I loved nature. I loved running in the woods. I loved feeling as if I was one with everything. And when something happened when I was 7 years old, I learned just how little regard the Christian faith I was being brought up in had for the natural world. And I began to look for people and things that had a relationship with the natural world. And I became a fan of the Native American spirituality, where they were one with nature, they lived close to nature. And I wondered, what was it like for white people before we got so quote unquote civilized with religion. And when I was almost 60, the runes came to me. It was 2013. And although I had worked with them when I was much younger, it didn't really come clear to me. And then all of a sudden, one day, they downloaded themselves into my mind like a computer download. And a few days after that, the Norns introduced themselves to me at my mesa. I'm a mesa carrier. And it was a whole new ball game that totally changed my life. So I have been doing rune readings now for a long time. And for me, the runes express the energies going on behind the scenes. So it may be that today's reading doesn't seem to relate directly to you or anything happening to you. It is for the viewer of this podcast to discern how the interpretation of the runes fits into your life. But there are many applications to each one of the symbols. And this is what I find so fascinating, that I have begun with reading one symbol a day and moved on to reading 3 to 5, because it just seems to me that the one rune needs the support of the interpretation for that particular day. So there's a lot that can be said about the Norse mythology. And when I was a child, these stories came down to me as fairy tales. Um, the story of the princess, for example, who poked her hand on the spindle and was put into a sleep for 100 years until Prince Charming found her, has its analogy in the story of the Valkyrie, Brunhilde, who disobeyed Odin and was put into a sleep until such time as her Prince Charming could find her. And this is found in the Poetic Edda, these stories. So there's a lot of fairy tales that came down to us that were teaching tales way back. I don't know when some of these things originated, but I am going to try to find out and learn. There's a lot of different teachings overlaid upon the surviving literature, which remained in Iceland because that was not Christianized until like 1,000 years after everybody else was Christianized. So it's just so interesting. So I've left you with a few things to think about today. And if you happen to come across any of my occasional live channelings and you have any questions, please just write them in the comments and I will do my best to follow up on it. But for now, this is the room reading for the day. I am Susan of the North, and I wish you all a good afternoon.